Hello and welcome to AudaciousGreen, the channel on which I do whatever I want. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the decline of radio and other media thanks to the invention of the internet. So let's start off with a brief history of the radio. The radio was initially invented to be an advanced version of the telephone. Journalists of the 1890s were very enthusiastic towards the radio. An idea of the wireless telephone, both providing communication where there was no lines and breaking the monopoly of telephone and telegraph companies. The radio not having physical wires made communication between individuals even easier because storms could not destroy the airwaves. The only downfall, which is the same for the internet, is that if the signal is weak or blocked by some barrier, then the reception won't be as strong. There are benefits to the radio, but there are also limitations that could definitely result in its extinction. The first positive that the radio has is its availability. The radio is everywhere, and it's very easy to use.
I like how easy it is to use, because every car is capable of listening to radio, and most portable technology devices can get radio, or at least stream radio.
Not only is the radio everywhere and readily available, but it's free, and that's one big positive that the radio has that television and the internet don't have. In my car though, my stereo is broken, and when I was in the car, that was really the only time that I was able to actually listen to the radio. And with the advances in technology nowadays, the internet is readily available almost anywhere thanks to our phones and our mobile devices. But even though some people claim that radio is readily available everywhere, others claim that the availability of radio doesn't really matter.
It's not quite everywhere in my life, I guess. I mean, I listen to it in the car. That's about it. It's interesting, but it's just my form of media consumption. In a car, when I'm at home, I'm gonna be watching television or being on the internet. And I don't need to do things like get my news or get my music from a radio if I have those available.
It's not that Josh has anything against the radio, it's just that he believes that television and the internet are more interesting media, and therefore he chooses to use them instead. And I completely agree with Josh. My car stereo being broken isn't the only reason that I don't listen to the radio. I prefer using the internet because it's more interactive and is just as readily available as the radio is nowadays. But Anthony Gamboa brings up another great point.
It's better than the internet, because when you go on the internet, you kind of need to know what you're looking for, and you need to know how to find it. With the radio, you can just turn it on and get information that you weren't necessarily trying to find out, but it's still interesting. So I think that's one of the best things about radio.
Spreading information is one of the radio's greatest uses. It can be ideas, beliefs, and political or personal opinions. Being able to have a voice in a community is of huge importance. And because there are so many different voices in the community, the people are able to expand their knowledge and views of the world. But not everyone feels like doing this, and that's why some people believe that the same positive for radio is also a negative. So, what is your initial opinion about radio?
That I generally avoid most of it. I find it very hard to find something that I relate to on it. So therefore I just don't turn it on.
This is part of the reason why people don't like listening to the radio as much as they used to. As we've progressed through time, people have become more interested in promoting themselves and their beliefs. Beliefs that not everyone might agree with.
I find it about 95 to 98% of the time when I turn on the radio, I am listening to NPR. And that's probably because I share the views of the people who are speaking on there, versus when I turn on maybe a more conservative station and they're sharing their views and I don't really agree with that.
The reason why people have voiced their ideas, beliefs, and opinions more nowadays is because they've grown more confident and therefore more adamant when it comes to opposing views. Because of this adamance, when a program with an opposing agenda comes on, they simply turn it off. And if people can't listen to what they want when they want, they're going to go to another medium, most likely the internet. And along the topic of not being able to choose what you want to listen to when you want to listen to it, Josh Rideout calls the radio the analog form of shuffle.
It's good that it's one of those forms of media that you can just tune into at any time, and unless it's the news, you won't really lose anything. It's kind of it's the analog form of shuffle. But that's also the thing that I don't like about it. I can't really... I mean, besides the genre of music that I'm listening to, I can't choose more more specifically than that.
This is the problem that I and most people have with the radio. The radio was invented back in the day when everyone was fine with what they were given, but now everyone wants what they want and when they want it. This is something that the radio just can't keep up with anymore. But still, another benefit that the radio gives us is its ability to have the community interact with itself by posing questions for debate. Michael Olson, the general manager of KSCO, Santa Cruz's local radio station, uses the metaphor of the soapbox in town square to describe what the radio does for the people around it.
When I was working in television, I would spend months working on a single piece that would get like 12 minutes of airtime on NBC Magazine with David Brinkley. And I always got the sense that after all that work and time and whatnot, there would be somebody sitting on the couch in Topeka, Kansas, watching my piece go by. And after 12 minutes of broadcast time, they'd sip their beer. And that would be the end of me. You know, it would be gone. But with respect to news talk radio, I can put an issue on the table and people can call in and say, look here, bub, what are you talking about? And you get a conversation going, and that conversation lives kind of after you finish the show. You send people away hungry for more and thinking about things. And so I just find that radio as theater of the mind is much more rewarding than television, which was pretty much all pre-digested food.
The conversation that the radio programs bring up allow the listeners to interact with the host and other audience members, which is something that television and the internet can't always do. And because the audience interacts with the program, they are more interested in the topic at hand. When an audience member of a radio program is listening in, they have to envision what is being discussed. And this allows the audience member to recall on their own personal experiences and previous knowledge rather than relying on visual aids to help them understand. But of course, not everyone feels this way. Many people prefer visual aids to not having them, and the radio is a medium that falls short.
I guess it's worse than television because television, you can actually watch stuff. You can use your eyes and your ears. And with the radio, you can only use your ears.
Okay. Do you think that makes you have to think more, though, if you only get to hear it?
Yeah. Like, with the music, I don't know, usually sometimes it depends if I'm talking while I'm listening to music or if I'm actually paying attention to the lyrics.
She likes using the visual aids that television and the internet provide as supplements to what she hears from them. And honestly, I do too. I have a hard time paying attention to certain things, so the visuals give me more of a complete picture about the information. And it's interesting, I'm not really sure if what Olivia says is from a youth perspective or from a perspective of her generation. It's no debate that radio is declining. It is. Even people in the medium of radio have agreed that the downward pattern exists. The question is if radio will ever fully become obsolete. Radio has many great positives and benefits, but it also has crippling limitations that might allow the internet to fully take over. It's only a matter of time until the information and entertainment programs of radio go from alive and well to well underground. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Please comment down below on what you think about radio.